And we are back at Media Day here with the Pac-12, joined by Charles Kelly, the defensive coordinator. Coach Prime, not here, as we all know. Have you talked to him? How did surgery go? How are his spirits, Coach?
We've texted a couple of times, and I've checked with the people that are around him. So he's doing a lot better. I know his number one thing is to be able to get back so he can lead these players in the fall. So he asked me to do this, and this was a big honor for me. So, you know, we're here, but he's doing great, and you can bet once fall camp gets here, he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, nobody's going to doubt that man.
That's
and
right.
The inspiration he has been. We'll send it out to the crowd, Jim.
Yeah, we'll open it up for questions from the media now, so please just raise your hand and we'll bring the mic over. We'll start over here in the back left, in the back.
Hi, Coach. Adam Tiger from 24/7 Sports. Obviously, Travis Hunter's expected to play both ways this year. How do you envision that playing out week to week? Is that something that the coaches are going to kind of go into the game plan and decide where he's more needed week to week?
Well, first of all, there are very few players that have the ability to do what Travis can do. And Coach Prime has a solid plan on what he wants to do with him on both sides of the ball. Now, Coach has made it very clear that, you know, you got to master one side before you can start playing another. I thought Coach Mathis and Coach Prime did an incredible job with Travis last year at Jackson State. I mean, when you talk to this young man about playing corner, he understands how to play the game. He understands the techniques. He knows what we're doing on defense. So what we did in the in the spring was we let him play more offense because he needed to develop more as a wide receiver when it comes to route running, those kinds of things. So it'll be one of those situations where Coach will make sure that he has a plan going into the game, how we're going to use him. But I can tell you this, if a guy can put points on the scoreboard, he's going to play for us.
Next question in the back left, Richard.
Yes.
Richard Johnson, Sports Illustrated. Coach Kelly, when did you kind of learn that, hey, Coach Prime is going to be having this procedure, you're going to be standing in, and have you ever done kind of the amount of media obligations and stuff like that you've kind of had to do today?
So I found out just, I guess, it's just a few days ago that he was going to, wasn't going to be able to make it. They had to reschedule this, and he asked me if I would do it. I said I'd be honored to do it. We have a lot of people on our staff that are capable of being here, but we have a great coaching staff, a great support team, not only just on the field coaches, but everybody we have in the organization. I think coaches put an incredible group together. It's been good to be here. Been able to see these, first of all, these great players that are in this conference, and also the great coaches that are here. I have a ton of respect for the coaches in this conference and what they've accomplished. And I've got a ton of respect for the players that are here. It's a big challenge for us. I'm proud of our players, of what our guys have done since they've been here. Travis and Shedeur have shown a lot of class, and we just want to represent the University of Colorado. We want to represent our fans, represent our administration, and the whole Buff Nation.
We'll stay in the back left.
Hey, Coach, Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Obviously, it's a brand new roster from what we saw on the field last season, but one of the holdovers is in your room with Trevor Woods at safety. What impressed you guys so much with him in the spring that he was not only able to earn a number, but was really running with the first-team defense for you guys?
Well, I think one of the things with you ask about Trevor, I think, first of all, Trevor bought in to everything that we were trying to accomplish as a team. It was very obvious, and he tried to buy into what we were teaching, and he believes in what Coach Prime, the vision that Coach Prime has set for the program. So that's what we're looking for as far as players. I think he really improved in what we were asking him to do. He's a very conscientious young man. He's one of those guys that ask a lot of questions. He can adjust. He can process the game very well. So I'm excited to he's worked very hard this summer along with the entire group. I mean, our whole defense, that a lot of the guys that have been new, I've been very impressed with the way those guys have worked. We have a lot of new guys in the secondary, and I've been very impressed with the way they've worked. Our entire team has worked very hard, and that's a tribute to all of our coaches, all of our support staff, and all of the players for the effort that they put into it.
Next question is in the front row on the far right.
Yes.
Hi, Coach. Nikki Edwards, CU Sports Report. From a defensive perspective, when you watch a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders play, how does that make it difficult for your secondary? And overall, what do you see out of Shedeur Sanders?
Well, first of all, the quarterbacks in this league are just absolutely incredible. It's a very impressive group. And might I say, I'm pretty proud of our quarterback also. I think Shedeur has done some incredible things in his career, and I'm anxious to watch what he can do. I mean, some of the numbers that he's put up. But to your question, I mean, every quarterback in this conference is different. Yeah, when you watch them play, they have a unique skill set that is a little bit different from week to week. So that puts a challenge, on us calling the defense or, going into a game with a game plan of how we have to be a little bit strategic on, how we control each of these guys a little bit different. The one thing in today's football that you have to do, you have to be able to affect the quarterback. You don't necessarily have to sack him all the time, but you've got to affect the quarterback. You've got to be able to get him off of spots. The thing that I see in this conference that a lot of these guys do well, even when you get them off of their spot, they can move, they can buy time in the pocket, and they use their eyes downfield, and they're very accurate downfield. So watching these guys, that's what I see, and I'm just, it's a big challenge for us every week.
In the back row on the left, Brian.
Hey, Coach. Brian Howell from the Boulder Daily Camera. This whole team, but your defense especially, is loaded with guys that either came from a lower level or Power 5 and they weren't playing a whole lot. And so there's probably a lot of hunger to prove themselves. When you've got an entire group looking to prove themselves and that's hungry like that, how much can that help you build a defense because they're all fighting the same way?
Well, you're right. We do have guys that are coming from different conferences. But the one thing we have is we've got a lot of guys that are coming in that have played a lot of football where they've been. So they have, they've been in games, they've been in big games. And, people ask about playing at the FCS level, a guy moving up. I think if you look at college football over the last few years since the transfer portal has been in play, there have been a lot of guys that have made that jump from the FCS level to Division I, Power 5, and they've had good careers. The NFL, they don't care where you play at. They want to evaluate and see how you play. And can you play good? And can you be consistent? So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of those guys want to be able to prove that, hey, I'm worthy to be at this level. And that is important. But I think what our players need to understand is, what can I do every single day to make myself a better player? Go through the process of becoming that player, and then you're going to get the results that you want. The guys that have been in other conferences that are coming, they'll bring some experience to our team that we need. So we welcome that. We're looking forward to it. Now we just got to make sure everybody's on the same page, going in the same direction.
We go to the far right in the third booth.
Kevin Turner, Sun Devil Radio Network. Coach, we've all seen what a master marketeer that Coach Prime is, and there's an old saying in business, hire slow, fire fast, and I don't think anybody in this room has seen a roster turnover so dramatically as it did in the offseason. Is there any sense as an assistant coach or within the staff that, nobody's job is safe and there's high expectations for you as a staff member to toe the rope and get your job done each and every day? Otherwise, you could be gone. Is there a sense of urgency that this Colorado program has got to win right away?
Well, there's a sense of urgency, but I don't think, and in fact, I can tell you, it's nobody outside is going to put any more pressure on us than we're going to put on ourselves. Coach Prime made it very clear, his vision from the beginning. That's one of the things that I respect most about him is he tells the truth. He made it very clear what his vision for our program was. And as a leader, what you do is you make sure everybody in the organization understands your vision. We all understand that vision. It's not necessarily fear for our jobs. It's just, this is our vision for where we want to go. We want to do it now. And, you know, we've taken criticism. That's fine. People have their opinion to say what they want to. But we did within what the rules allow for us to be able to create the best roster possible for the University of Colorado. And we don't apologize for that. So what our job is now is to make sure we coach and we develop and we bring these players along. Every day when you're in college coaching, you do three things. You evaluate, you recruit, and you develop. And you do that on a daily basis. So Coach does that in our organization, on our team, with our staff, everything. He's evaluating every day. He's evaluating. If he can make something better, he's going to make it better. And again, not fear for our job necessarily that we have a sense of urgency. It's just a sense of urgency that, hey, this is what we got to do to bring Colorado football back to where our fans deserve it.
Next question is here in the front row on the left.
Yeah.
Kenneth Berry, Touchdowns and Tangents Network. Coach, what makes Shedeur such a special quarterback? And in terms of just coming from, you know, Jackson State to this level, what makes him one of the better quarterbacks in the country?
Well, first of all, I love this question because, first of all, I love Shedeur and what he brings to the table as a quarterback. You know, I've been very fortunate to be on some teams with some very good quarterbacks, and they all have some really good characteristics. You know, the first thing is Shedeur is very smart. All right, he understands the game. He understands what people are giving him. All right, one of the most important things that a quarterback can do is to make good decisions. He makes good decisions. You know, we go against him in practice, and I watch him. And he's got a strong arm. He's very accurate. You know, that what I call hand talent. Guy's got hand talent, but he's very accurate with the football. He's got all of those things. So he's got the traits that make him a great quarterback. And look at his numbers. You know, look at what he's accomplished. Look at his completion percentage. Look at how many yards he's thrown for. Look at how many games that he's won. I mean, one of the most important statistics there is for a quarterback is how many games you win help your team win. And that's, when you look at his numbers, that's pretty impressive. Now, in his defense, he can't help who he was playing against. It's like when we recruit a player out of high school, there may be a player playing at a higher classification, and then there's a player playing in a little bit lower classification. Well, this player's dominating this lower classification. What makes him not, you know, relevant to play at our level? I mean, he can't help who he's playing against. Production is what you look for. And I think Shedeur has all of the attributes, you know, to be a productive quarterback at any level. I've known him since he was a freshman in high school, and I've watched him develop. We recruited him at Alabama. So I've been very impressed with what I've seen.
I got time for one more here in the front right.
Hello again. So the Buffs were ranked at 11th in the Pac-12 preseason media poll. What was ultimately your reaction of that? And do you have, like, ultimately you know what is going on internally in that program and what that program is capable of, but from looking from the outside, could you understand where maybe the media is coming from in putting the Buffs at 11th?
Well, I mean, if we all went off predictions, we wouldn't kick the ball off. We wouldn't play the game. So I don't think any of our coaches, any of our players, I'm sure they'll use that as a motivation tool to, you know, want to play better. But listen, what we're focused on is being the best football team that we can possibly be. That has nothing to do with an outcome of a game, where you're picked or where you're expected to place. How we work, how we develop as a team, how we come together as a team, that's what's going to determine whether we win or not. It will be all about us. It won't be about anybody else or anybody's prediction. And it's fun. Or fun for the fans, fun for everybody to see those things. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about how you produce and execute on Saturdays, and that's what we've got to do.
Coach, one more quick one from me, and then we'll bring out your players. You come from Alabama. You work for one of the best football minds ever in Nick Saban. From the outside, I don't know that you would say there's a whole lot of similarities between Saban and Deion Sanders, but are there, now that you've been able to work with both of them? Are there commonalities?
Absolutely. First of all, let me say this. Working for Coach Saban was great. It was an honor. Coaching for him, you see things and you look at things different than maybe you did before. And he's influenced so many coaches across this country. A lot of these guys that are head coaches right now they wouldn't be where they were at unless it was for Coach Saban. That being said, you ask the similarities. People have asked me that all the time. There are a lot more similarities about Coach Saban and Coach Prime than there are differences. And when I say that, I always say this first of all. First of all, they're very good men, right? Very good men. And they have conviction. So when they believe in something, they fight for it, right? That's a sign of a good person. And they tell you the truth. They tell you what is the truth, not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And, that, to me, they're very similar in that aspect. The other thing is they have a way of setting a standard, and they're not going to divvy off that standard. That standard is the standard. So they're not going to come off of it. And everybody that works with them is going to be the same way. And when the standard is the standard and you're a leader and you bring people to that standard, that's how you elevate your program. So those are the similarities that I see between Coach and Coach Prime.
Stuff. Well, we appreciate all your insight and your time today. Go enjoy the rest of the media tour and give Coach Prime our best. We hope he heals up, and we're looking forward to seeing him at the season opener at TCU.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.